Welcome back. Now, at a Tesco supermarket in Portsmouth last night, this happened. Well, besides that mad brawl, what myself and many others have noticed about that clip is that it's a member of the public, a bystander, who was eventually the one to take forceful action. Not security, not police. Now, Hampshire Police have since confirmed that a 29-year-old man has been arrested. But must we always rely on ourselves for protection? I'm sick and tired of seeing ordinary members of the public having to stand up for themselves, and, OK, fair enough, maybe you should if push comes to shove. But isn't that what security guards are for? I've been in shops numerous times when things have kicked off or people have been stealing things and the security guards just stand there on their phones. You saw it there, didn't you, as well? You know, is it now just up to us? We almost certainly know that the police aren't going to come, and if they do, they won't be there anytime soon. Why? Well, it becomes, as there was a revelation today, that police are giving up on 4 crimes a minute without catching the perpetrators. So, how do we take back control of our country? Let's speak now to former Met Police Senior Detective Simon Harding. Simon, thank you very, very much. Are the public just going to have to protect themselves now, then?
Oh, do you know what? I mean, we've spoken so many times, haven't we, about this kind of thing in the statistics that are coming out, and it's, people saying that things are going to change quickly, but they're not changing quickly enough, really. And there's so many videos like the ones you've shown as well, where, in fact, that's quite surprising that somebody else did intervene, because quite often it's just left to, shop staff or, and like you say, a number of security guards who won't put themselves in the line of fire because, they don't have certain powers they think they do. They don't want to get hurt. And so, yeah, it's taking people like that gentleman to get involved to stop these things, which is.
But is that where we are now, though? Seriously, I mean, is that what it is? Is if you see something going on in the street, you should step in because someone whose job it is to do that. I'm not just talking about police here, by the way. I mean security guards, etc. The people whose actual job it is to step in and intervene in a situation like that are going to be on their phone or backing off and all of that stuff. And it's just up to us to look after ourselves. Is it really?
Well, I mean, you can't speak for everybody that does that. There are security guards up and down the country. There's people that work on the front of doors in clubs and pubs who do intervene in certain situations, even when they're not inside, just to protect members of the public. But, when you look at those statistics, if you strip away all those crimes where there's no forensics, no witnesses, no CCTV, it's the other ones where there are leads where I think we're being let down now. Because, and I have experienced this in the last couple of days, reporting an attempted robbery on behalf of somebody else. And because I didn't answer my phone back to the police, they closed the crime straight away, even though that it said there is CCTV, 4 places which capture the whole incident. People had their hoods off. You can see them. And now, if that is how quick you are to close it, now I don't swing the blue lamp very often, but before, when you have these dedicated robbery squads or dedicated burglary squads, all these people, we would take that and we would see how far we could go with it. Look at that CCTV, identify that person, send it out to the media to say, do you know locally who this is? And that kind of thing seems to have almost died into the point, well, if you can't supply the evidence yourself as a victim, then we're not going to then pursue it as we used to be able to do.
Yeah, and that feeds through, though, down to the public and, crucially, the criminals as well, Simon, doesn't it? I mean, I do think people who are criminally minded have stopped caring that much about getting caught now. There does appear to be a lot more brazen crime taking place out there. And, you can understand why that mindset sets in like a criminal cancer, doesn't it? Because if it is up to you to provide CCTV of your own accord and answer your phone at exactly the right time, there is somebody there who, by the sounds of it, has just tried to do a robbery who now will probably get away with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if you stand on your soapbox, as I do quite often when I'm talking about these sort of things, you can talk about discipline going back into the home and even back into schools, how, the discipline at schools has gone, almost completely. I went into schools and did a lot of talks before I retired around, carrying knives and all sorts of, and things about group mentality and getting caught, about if you are just part of the group, you're as guilty as somebody else, all that kind of thing. And people were allowed to do what they wanted in the classroom. They could get up, they could walk out, they could do whatever they wanted to do. And if I said sit down, listen to what I'm saying, there were problems, and it's because really it starts from there. And if you take that kind of mentality out of home and out of school, and then you're released into the public, then the police officer walking around means nothing to you because that authority isn't ingrained within you already. That kind of respect and authority is disappearing. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we face.
Yeah, and I feel very sorry for the police, genuinely. I know that might surprise people because you do sometimes give them a bit of a kicking, but we need more of them. We do need more of them. I would be inclined to pay them a bit more as well because I think they do a really, really messy job at times. But I think you've hit the nail on the head when it comes to where a lot of this stuff starts. And later on in the show, we're going to be having a debate about whether or not crap parents lead to, frankly, bad kids. And I think there's a logic there. You look at what's going on in schools. We've got 250,000 under 35s off on long-term sick. Now, I'm sympathetic to people who are genuinely sick. There's no way you're telling me that 250,000 under 35s at the moment in this country are genuinely off on long-term sick. It does start at home, I think, Simon.
Yeah, I think you do see that. I mean, it's I'm not saying that it's every home. Of course, we can't say that because we know people that are different and they just have that mentality. But that form of discipline, it doesn't have to be Dickensian discipline like we used to have when I was at school. But there has to be that kind of respect and authority. So it's very, very difficult at the moment, and it's difficult for cops, isn't it?
We'll leave it there. Simon, thank you very much. Simon Harding there, former Met Police senior detective.